Okay, so I think we're good to get started. We have everyone here.
Okay. It's nice to
Okay,
see you all here.
same here. Thank you so much. Hello, namaste. Welcome everyone to season 2, episode 6 of Karo Sambhav's webinar series. This one is titled Beyond Bins Revolutionizing E Waste Collection Through Strategic Partnerships. And I hope all of us have chosen to be on the driver's seat of our lives this new year and hope we too are upgrading our softwares and hardwares just at the
Definitely.
same pace as our electronics are upgrading this 2024, right? So, in a world where everything is rapidly advancing, be it technology, be it our lifestyles, so is our dependence on electronic gadgets. But like they say, with great innovation comes a great pile of electronic responsibilities. And that's the massive e waste challenge that we face today. Some of us have still gotten a drawer full of a graveyard of old phones, laptops, and chargers and cables. Or we definitely know people who have that, right? And which is gathering dust. So let's be honest, sometimes it even becomes a head scratcher to think what happens to that waste even once you hand it over. What is the end of life of that looking like, and where is it going? Who is handling that? And that's precisely what we are here to address today. Our gadgets have evolved, and it's about time we need to evolve our approach to managing the afterlife of all of these devices. So, today we are not just going to talk about recycling, we will be delving into the art of collaborations. And when I say collaborations, I'm looking at how do we enhance grassroots collection systems and make it easy for each one of us to participate. Easy in a way where it's as easy as ordering your favorite food. So let's forget or keep aside the disposing in bins for a while for this 1.5 hours, and let's think about strategic partnerships. And when I say strategic partnerships, all of us are involved in making that happen. So today we have assembled an interesting lineup of speakers. They are leaders and experts who aren't just focused on the issue or complaining about the issue. They're committed to enhancing the ease of participation for all in different kinds of waste streams. So let's make a commitment to usher into a future where circularity seamlessly aligns with our lifestyles. So, welcome to the next frontier of e waste management. Just sit back, relax, and I really request each one of you to stay tuned till the end of this conversation because that's when the ideas get ripe enough to be discussed and even be implemented on the ground, right? And this season, this episode has been made possible with the support of our sponsors. I would really like to thank Apple, Dell Technologies, Canon, and HP for making it happen. Right, ma'am. So now we would move on to the next segment, that is our panel discussion. So, ma'am, thank you once again, and I would like to invite our first panelist, Mr. Liakatbir Veghal, non-executive director and board member from PAHAL. Liaquat, can you come on video? Yeah. Hello.
Yeah, hi.
Our second panelist is Mr. Vivek Adhia, Associate Director, Climate and Sustainability at Boston Consulting Group. Our third panelist is Dr. Ruby Makhija, Founder and Director, Why Waste
Why
Wednesdays
Waste Wednesdays
Foundation.
Foundation.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon. And our fourth panelist is Lion Adrian Torres, District Chairperson, E-Waste Campaign and Drive, Lions Club International, 317B.
Namaste, one and all.
Namaste. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us and coming on board. It is at the start of this new year. I think this topic couldn't have been come at the perfect time. We were thinking of what topic should we actually discuss, and I think collaborations and volunteering plays a very important role in creating any kind of difference. Just one second. Yeah, there you go. Um, I would like to begin the question with Liaquat. Liaquat, you have been supporting Karo Sambhav for some time, and you have spearheaded the Recycle Giri initiative a few years back, and especially in North India. I would love to hear from you. Could you share instances or some eye-opening realities that made a lasting impact on you? How have these experiences influenced your perspective on the grassroots implementation of grassroots initiative, especially from when we speak about e-waste management or plastics? Over to you.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you, Sreepriya. Hello to everyone. Thank you for having me here. I think it's a great question, but you also said in the beginning that collaboration, you said art of collaboration. I really liked that because collaboration is not just a process that you do, but there's just so many ways of doing it that it's like an art. And the thing about setting up infrastructure for collection of waste is so complicated in terms of when you do it in a particular city or a particular area that so much of the local context makes a huge difference, and it's just extremely local. And when I was trying to do the same thing in different areas in North India, I could see and I could experience firsthand how different it is, even if you go from one city to the another city in the same state. For example, if we are going from Jalandhar to Phagwara, the attitude towards waste, the thinking towards electronic waste or any kinds of waste completely changes. Someone is really proactive, someone is really questioning everything, and I think that made a huge difference in how you change your strategy towards working with the governments, working with the municipalities, working with the schools, or with the local collectives and everything. And here I think it makes a huge difference on who is in your team in the local area, like who is visiting these people and who is making the first impact or the first communication with whoever you are collaborating with. And for example, it really helped us a lot when we would visit a city and find out what the challenges are in that city, and then create a strategy towards setting up the collection infrastructure within that city. And building a strong team and trusting your local team within that city also is really important, according to me, when you're trying to set up collection infrastructure or trying to enable recycling or trying to enable behavior change in a particular city. We really need to see that even right now, even after 12 years of introduction of e-waste management rules, the awareness about e-waste is still minimal. And there is a lot that needs to be done to increase that awareness and to tell people what to do with their e-waste, not only about the fact that, oh, I need to recycle my e-waste, but more about where should I go to send my e-waste for a proper recycling, and what happens when the recycling is not done properly. Because since e-waste has value, it will be recycled somehow, but it will not be recycled in an environmentally responsible way. So all these messages need to be sent to the community in a very strategic way, and that really depends on the local context. And I think that's what I really learned through my work of so many years of leading the Recycle Giri campaign of electronic waste, plastic waste, that you can't make a strategy and go to everywhere and implement that strategy, but you really need to understand what's happening in that city, in that village, in that cluster of villages, and see what makes a difference among the people there, among the shops there, among the collectives there, or among the government body which is there. And then in the end, it's not just about raising awareness, or it's not just about collecting the waste, but it's about building that infrastructure which will last even when you are moved on or you're not working in that city anymore. And that's what really drives this campaign, or that's what really drove me when I was trying to run this campaign.
Thanks a lot. I really liked how you said the campaign must go on even when you are not present in that city, and that is sustainability of projects is something. I mean, not everyone masters that art, and thank you so much for bringing up that point. That actually leads me to the next question, which I would like to ask Mr. Vivek. So, Vivek, whenever we talk about enhancing the infrastructure for circularity, getting the right kind of capital has always been a challenge. So, and that's where I feel the private sector's role is very important in making that happen, because they have the ability to leverage resources and bring about that innovation at a scale which India needs, because we are a huge country in terms of the population. Now, to address these unique challenges, I mean, when I say unique, e-waste, especially with e-waste, India has got a very set of very unique challenges, even come in terms of implementations of the regulations, right, on the ground. And so I would love to hear from you, from BCG's perspective, what kind of government policies or initiatives could actually resonate with the major private companies and players? What can actually attract them to come on board to create this collaborative approach and trying to solve this problem? Over to you, Vivek.
Thank you. I hope you guys can hear me fine.
Vivek, we are not able to hear you. Yeah.
Is this better? Can you guys hear me now?
Yes. Now you're audible.
All right, super. Sorry about this. A little bit of a background because I'm just coming out
Yes.
of vibrant Gujarat, and circularity has been a big theme here, and closing the loop has been a big theme here. So very excited to be here. I think the pointers, first of all, amazing to learn India's first facility of Rajasthan, coming up. That is so inspiring. And then Liakat, the campaigns and everything that you shared about. I think from my perspective, what we were looking at is a large part of our waste still doesn't come back in the system, right? It gets collected, but it doesn't get recycled. And there are inherent challenges about that because of technology, financing, aggregation, business models, and so on. And this is where, in spite of us being a good market, if I could say, with a large unorganized sector trying to clean up our systems, we are still not able to empower some of them to tap into the latest technologies or financing vehicles or mechanisms. And that's where organizations like Swachh, Hasiru Dala have showcased this from an MSW, biomass, plastic waste point of view. I don't think we have similar examples from e-waste space, maybe leaving aside a few, say recycle or gravitas, which does lead battery recycling and stuff. So the answer here is, a couple of things. One is, how do we bring in more organized play in this, where we tap and leverage the unorganized sector, the mechanism that we have with kabadi walas and collection mechanisms and stuff, bring in a little more private sector organized play, build in a little more bankability, and try and demonstrate something that this is a business case, this is a business model that would work. And there are ongoing conversations that we are having with some of the largest DFIs in the country, including the SIDBs of the world, where they're trying to come up with innovative financing products where they build in a little more guarantee. So if the technology doesn't work, there's a first loss. If there is a long gestation period for people to invest in those asset creation and then look at the processing part and do it in a way where you need a slightly higher payback, then that kind of products are working. And this is where solutions like blended finance are really driving the private sector play or commercial play from my viewpoint. So I think the crux of the matter is there are three challenges. We need to bring in more recycling by addressing those three challenges. One is by the design or repairability part of it. So the law on repair, the law on the right to repair really helps. The second one is more on mandating things back in the system. So the EPR, the vehicle scrapping system, the steel scrapping policy, these kind of mechanisms do help. And third is, preferential financing outlay from some of the DFIs in the country trying to come up with innovative products. So I think those would be my mantra to push things out.
Thank you. Thanks, Vivek. Are there any examples you would like to share to make it a little more relatable to our listeners as well?
I think from an example point of view, in fact, Sydney is coming up with a product on managing, say, battery recycling, and they're trying to see if they can do this from an e-waste perspective more broadly. So that's something that I would encourage the listeners to keep a lookout on. And this does promote MSMEs and early stage startups and entrepreneurs who are wanting to invest and build into those asset creation for the processing side of it, and make sure that so that's something which you should definitely look out for.
All right. Thank you so
And
much.
Sripriya, I
Yeah.
think maybe just a quick point. I love the fact when you started off the entire session, right? Can you make it as easy as ordering food? Today, none of us probably would have old wires or chargers or phones in our house, because we can just get onto one of these apps, maybe a Cashify or something, and just ask them to collect stuff from our home and get paid for it and stuff, right? So things like this are really being driven by our vibrant startup ecosystem, and I think we should continue to expand and support them.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree more. Thank you so much for reiterating those points. And so, on that note, I would just like to move on to the next question, which is to Dr. Ruby Makhija. Yeah, I think there is an echo. One second. Yeah. Okay. So, ma'am, I would love for you to share with us, I mean, in brief, the idea behind Why Waste Wednesdays, because the name is pretty intriguing, and you have been continuously trying to bring a lot of stakeholders onto the same table, and a lot of your campaigns, you have been collaborating with civil society organizations to implement thoroughly on the grassroots, be it and you deal with different kinds of waste streams. Would love to hear from your experiences what kind of challenges have come in making that happen, and how have you approached to solving those challenges? Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Sreepriya. It is really indeed quite motivating to listen to my previous speakers. There's so much of hope and so much of positivity, and we all need it. I think more than anything else, this is something we sincerely require to keep going on this path against so many odds. So, why Waste Wednesdays talking about that? So, it just came up because I always feel very, very strongly that waste has been a topic which has been largely ignored. When we actually talk about it, last 7 years we've been talking about waste management, swachhta, and all of it. But the actual, talking, translating into realization and then into practice is something really different. So this Why Waste Wednesdays came up with the concept that we should spend at least one day in a week towards waste management, maybe just about a couple of hours, unless and until we designate those hours to that particular day. So that's the whole idea behind Why Waste Wednesdays. And yes, we deal with various different types of waste. So if you ask me, I will not say that I'm a waste management expert or specifically an electronic waste management expert. My work has been woven more or less around community engagement and building strong communities. So there's a very small model in Navjeevan Vihar. There's a small colony in South Delhi where we started all of my work. And again, as I said, I brought various residents, the civic authorities in that area, market traders associations, schools, colleges on board, and we established a zero waste so-called model in Navjeevan Vihar. And beyond that, I think I just kept on going with the flow without actually realizing that I have to stick to one particular field of waste or not. So it was more about raising awareness around waste management. And wherever I felt that there were some gaps which required to be filled in, I tried my level best to try and do it myself. So that is why, I am sure Liakat here would agree with me that when you come down on the grassroots level, it's very difficult for you to maintain your own boundaries. Every work where you feel that there is a gap in a project being successful, you try and pitch in and try to fill up that gap. So, and in the bargain, I realized it was very important for all the stakeholders to come on one table and then, kind of create a model, which we did in South Delhi. And talking about electronic waste specifically, I guess with support, a huge support from Karo Sambhav, in collaboration with municipal corporation, RWA, schools, colleges. I think we've set up a very I would say encouraging model. I won't say that there's a lot of potential for improvement in this model as well, and to scale it up again. But it's the graph is up going. With each passing day, there's so much of encouragement. There's so much of positivity that we get, and the results are tremendously encouraging for us to keep going. So, as you rightly mentioned, unless and until all the stakeholders which are a part of that particular project are not onboarded, the project can never succeed. And for that also to happen, and to happen in the most productive manner, it is so very important that all these partners are in sync with each other, right? They have a mutual respect for each other. They are open to and flexible, agile, and they can accommodate each other's I would say requirements on, and together collectively how they can overcome the challenges. So this small collection model of electronic waste to talk about in South Delhi, I think Municipal Corporation of Delhi is one of the biggest partners here with us. And having a government body adds a lot of value, a lot of trust, and a lot of credibility to the project. So that is what comes from the Municipal Corporation of Delhi, apart from a lot of information about the guidelines and the rules. Of course, Karo Sambhav has been very, very supportive. And uh, you know filling up small gaps, like I would say collection logistics, where Karo Sambhav pitched in. Now, if I have a 2 kilogram electronic waste lying somewhere in XYZ corner, it is my responsibility to pick that also up. Of course, it cannot be logistically at times viable, financially viable, but unless and until that pattern is set for a couple of months. I remember when I spoke with the Savri and Anurag when we were just starting this project, I said I can't give you commitments of maybe 500 kgs. All I would request is, if there's in one odd corner of South Delhi, there's one individual who is making an effort to collect and not hand over the waste to the informal sector, and he's being or she is being responsible, I think we can go a little extra mile and pick up that waste, even if it is not financially viable. So that is where I would compliment you all, that you all have, and as Karo Sambhav's team has gone out of your way to even support these small initiatives. And at the end of the day, these are individuals who are the waste generators. We talk about organizations, but in totality, if you see, it is each individual which is generating the waste. And if you target that individual level awareness, I think whether it is a university or a college or a religious body, everything will be taken care of. So my whole work revolves around raising awareness at an individual grassroots level. So I think, and I would say that I've received tremendous support from across, I would say, partnerships wherever I have entered into, whether it is electronic waste or plastic waste, or paper waste for that matter. Uh, because we all are human beings, we have the same flesh, same skin, and the same feelings. So it's just about tapping what is important to you. If that becomes important to me, I think we are pretty much sorted. So shared goals and shared objectives in partnership have really led to a huge success in whatever models I create. And these small models which we create, then we are so replicable, then you can upscale whatever project you want to. It becomes very easy once we have a roadmap in front of us. It's truly very, very easy. And I think that's about it. Thank you.
Thank you so
Thank you
much for
so much
sharing
for
that
sharing that
perspective, ma'am.
perspective, ma'am.
Yeah. Okay, and I think, like you mentioned, there's so much that connects us all, and somewhere we need to remind ourselves that even waste connects each one of us, no matter where you are. We can't escape that, and if someone has this idea that, oh, I am not producing waste, so I'm probably doing something better for the environment, maybe not, because we need to collaborate. Because आपका waste नहीं होगा, पर the whole society, the whole community, and it could also be any area in any part of the world that's generating that waste, and we need to come together to solve that challenge. So thank you to you and your organization for making that happen. And on the point of you brought about the point of logistics and how important it is to manage that, no matter what quantum of waste is available at one point, right? So I would like to now bring about that question to Lion Adrian. um, I am really curious to know how Lions Club chose e-waste for the dump and donate campaign. It's really thoughtful, and thank you for this campaign. Curious to know how you approach this and what inspired the club to begin this campaign.
Thank you so much, and it's a wonderful topic. Actually, we call it as a eco revolution. Along with our strategic partners, we have already started up, and ours was the first pilot project in the year 21-22. Our linistic year is 21-22. It's 22-23, so it goes on. And for the first year, that's 22-23, we had the pilot project called as Dump or Donate. Dump or Donate, we had recyclers all over India. This pilot project was started in India, and this year onwards, the next year, the next linistic year, it will be taken internationally. That's all over the world. And Dump or Donate was the world's biggest collection drive, which happened all over India, and it started with awareness, because as Liakatbir said, awareness is the most important factor for e-waste in India, because unless and until we reach out, which is very important with these two things, reaching in to reaching out, all over. It might be the small villages, even villages have mobiles, and it's become a revolution all around, right? And India is number 3. It shouldn't be number 1, right? Because from 3 we shouldn't climb up the ladder. We should go down backwards. We should try and make it that we should give more and more to dump or donate. And with the first year, with a wonderful awareness was done all over India. And the second year, we gave a thought to this project, saying that we did it for 2 months. The first month was with awareness. It was a campaign for 2 months. The first month with awareness, and the second month was collection drive. Because when there is awareness, there is a lot of things which was collected all around. It might be colleges, schools, the panchayat areas, the municipalities, and much more. Even we used to get personal calls also. And I have Karo Sambhav, who was a recycler for this year. And we had a wonderful collaboration along with Karo Sambhav. Steve was there, your teammate in Goa, and he did a wonderful job. You just said, Steve, come on, we'll go to one place, and he was there. This awareness is very important with our strategy partners. And with Lions, the other team members also should join. It might be the JCs, the Rotarians, and much more. It should reach in to reach out, so that we shouldn't fall in for a dreadful the toxic which reaches in our sea, rivers, lakes, and has caused with cancer. Cancer is the most dreadful. This happened due to e-waste, which has been let into these unorganized sectors are there. We call them as kabadi walas, because these kabadi walas do collect the e-waste and make a nuisance all around. We should try to avoid all these things. And as being organized sector, as with Karo Sambhav and many more are there, let us join hands with and reach out to the smallest of the smallest people. This one more goal we had. We had a Minister for Environment, that is Mr. Nilesh Kabral. He said we have two hands, right? You join out with your right hand to the right neighbor, left hand with the left neighbor, and reach in to them. It might be the e-waste will reduce. Let's join hands together and make e-waste reduced. Not from 161 million tons, let it be lesser and lesser. So this Jump or Donate was a wonderful initiative, and we are trying to make it grow and glow, because growing is very important, and collecting all these e-waste through an organized sector. Let us be organized. Let us all of us join hands and make this happen, because sustainable development goals, especially Lions, we have 5 focus areas, and environment is one of the focus area where we depend with the environment, because if we are against the environment will be against us. And let us all join hands and make this happen. And it's a wonderful initiative taken by Karo Sambhav, especially Revolution with e-waste along with the strategic partnership, and it's very important. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Adrian, for sharing that. And I would like to also share one fact about the campaign, that it's the Dump and Donate campaign happens like it's a focused campaign for 2 months every year, right? Yeah,
Yes, we
and
are
that's
trying to
where
have it
yeah.
all over the year. Not
Okay,
only 2 months. It's from a pilot project to 2 months. Next year would be 4 months. So we'll carry out for
right.
the whole year.
That's fantastic. And I really hope you get more and more volunteers to support and more partners to support that initiative. Thank you so much for that. And thank you so much for even getting started on this initiative. And that actually brings me, even the campaign names brings me to the next question, which I'll address to Mr. Vivek. I'm so glad that volunteer organizations like Lions Club and even YV's Wednesdays and PAHAL, I mean, all of them have been working with their own strategies to reach out to more and more people. But on the grassroots, there is also an expectation of how do we incentivize this whole collection model, right? And I mean, there are a lot of citizens who are willingly there to participate and they give away their waste, that recycling is more important to them, but that's not the majority. And that's where we talk about what is the cost of circularity and how can we actually build in uh, build that cost of circularity into the products where it is shared by the citizens as well as the buyers of the products as well as the brands. So would love to hear from you what kind of strategies or financing models would actually work, and can we really have corporates on board to make that happen? Over to you.
Thank you, Sreepriya. And in fact, Line Adrian, I just want to take a moment and share my kudos as well. I'm a part of Lions Club too in Thane North in Mumbai. And I'll try and take this campaign to my club, and let's see how we can continue to expand this forward. So thank you for this. Sreepriya, I think, the cost of circularity becomes a very, very important point. And, like we said, you know, we've been hearing through the panel that ultimately it's all about individuals and their behavior and their motivation, right? So whether it's a club, whether it's a community, whether it's a corporate, the awareness of treating, collecting, disposing waste, properly comes in from the individual perspective. And that's where we've seen examples in fact in Europe, a, one of the largest producers of e-waste and recyclers of e-waste. We've seen that initially consumers were incentivized in the form of very, very simple things like, okay, we'll give you a free metro card, or we'll give you, some discount coupons for your nearest electronics store or next buy. And this kind of proves an entire momentum of trying to derive the immediate value per se. Most of us do this because we feel there is an inherent planetary value and a sustainability value, but here there is an immediate cash value that comes out for people, and people are trying to do this across various municipalities and communities. I think the cost will also a large part of the cost is distributed amongst collection, processing, and logistics part. We forget that you know even if we reduce the cost of collection or processing, the number of kilometers a waste needs to travel to reach to its proper processing site or end of life site becomes a big hurdle when you calculate the overall cost, and therefore you don't really get it. In spite of being in spite of this being a really conscious proposition, the logistical cost kind of become very, very prohibitive. And we keep talking about circularity, and this is my analogy which I wanted to bring in, right? Let's create a million circular economies and not just one circular economy. And this is an example, I want to bring in an analogy from the waste management sector on municipal solid waste. I started my climate journey by setting up the MSW plant for the city of Kolhapur. And at that time, 20 years back, the entire city waste was filled in trucks and carried over to one central location outside the city and then used, processed at a landfill. Today, the municipal corporations refuse to carry organic waste. They are going back to RWS and saying that you manage your waste at your site, you create your own composting pits, processing centers, do whatever, and even the recyclables we'll collect only once. Can we do it in a similar manner? Scale it down, the e-waste processing, to a more functional, granular, by the roadside kind of a level, and empower the unorganized sector, the kabadiwalas, and give them those 3D printing options or whatever we might want to call it, where you really do this in a scaled down, fragmented, distributed manner, rather than having large scale processing facilities. And that's my take on, really looking at solutions like building a million circular economies and trying to solve things where the cost of circularity is not dependent on cost of logistics.
Fair point, but I think that would be more applicable on the downstream side, right? But while we have to also parallelly start working upon the upstream, where even there are design changes and the materials that are used. Today, we are literally reinventing the wheel in terms of, because products and the materials have got patents of their own. We have to dismantle and see, oh, this is the material inside a particular product. So that is a level of unveiling that happens whenever we approach that, and hopefully we all are able to solve that and figure out the right kind of technologies to solve this challenge, as well as bring a lot more brands on board to even work upon the design aspect. And so thanks again for sharing that perspective and sharing that analogy
I
from
think
solid
maybe
waste management.
if I can just quickly add one more point on the upstream side of it,
Yeah.
right? The design side of it, right? Maybe, I don't know, we have got a very engaged group here. Can we have a quick show of hands who's not replaced a mobile phone in the last 2 years? Maybe, I don't know how many hands would come up, because we are so, oh, lovely to see so many hands, right? So when we were growing up, we had these Nokia and other phones where if your battery is to be replaced, you can do it. If your screen is broken, you can do it. Unlike a point of time some time back where you had to really change your entire phone, you don't get it repaired, you don't get it opened anywhere and stuff. And if you do it, your warranty breaks down. But today there are rules, not just from a right to repair perspective, but your entire warranty remains intact and you are able to replace or repair smaller parts. And that's the design thinking that has come in once again as a relook from a sustainability point of view. So I think this is encouraging more extended use of products, and that's, hopefully we'll see more hands next time when we ask these questions.
Agreed. Thanks again. Thanks a lot, Vivek. Now, I have the penultimate question to all our panelists, and especially, I'm saying especially because of the nature of the organization, to Liakat, Adrian, and Dr. Ruby. implementing initiatives at the grassroots level often requires a huge amount of community acceptance, because for them it is like, okay, who is the third person organization or person just coming and telling me what to do, right? And I'm really interested to understand how have you and your organization, as well as the volunteers working with you, navigated through the public reception for newer projects, and if you all could share examples of what worked, what did not work at the local community level, how have they embraced and participated in those newer projects. So maybe Liaquat, we can start with you, and then Dr. Ruby, and then Mr. Adrian. Yeah, over to you.
Yeah, yeah. Great question. And that's very true that we can only have an impact if our idea is accepted to the by the people whom we are communicating it. And I think the first thing that really worked for us is to create a more interactive environment whenever we were talking about what is irresponsible recycling and what is responsible recycling, and why you should give your waste to us or people who are like, or the kabadi walas who are then giving the waste to us. um, like giving that interactivity in the type of communication, like instead of going to a school and giving a lecture, go to a school and do some activity where the students are also able to talk to us, or going to a corporate office and talking to the employees, encouraging them to ask questions and giving the opportunity to question us. And I think that really worked in for us in connecting with the people. For example, we used to hear a lot where someone would say that, oh, e-waste is so much money, and if we give it to you for free, you will make so much money with it. And how is that, how does that make sense, and why would we not get anything? And giving the opportunity to someone to ask that question, and then having the opportunity to answer that question, and telling them why giving electronic waste to informal sector where it's not recycled responsibly has so much environmental cost, and if you give it to a recycler who has invested so much money and who is investing money into recycling, has such a huge difference on the environmental cost. And that really helps us connect with someone, and maybe not change somebody's mind, but maybe the person who asked is just really strongly opinionated, but everyone else can hear us, and maybe someone changes their mind and then decides to give their electronic waste to a responsible recycler or to a collection agency for the rest of their life. And I think that really created an impact and worked for us in like having transparency and accountability. What we do with the e-waste, where will it go, and why is it better to give it to us, and having a two-way communication whenever you do an activity within the community. Another thing that really worked for us was to find allies. Like every time you go out, you talk to 50 people, 20 people, 10 people, there is one person who is really enthusiastic and who really wants to do something but is not able to do it because they don't have enough exposure to people, to organizations like Karo, Sambhav, to organizations like Why Waste Wednesdays, PAHAL, Lions Club. So you identify someone like that, and then you go to them, you talk to them after the session, you maintain a relationship with them, and then you use their networks to bring in people to build your community even further. And that really worked for us to build that relationship. And then we also met people who just wanted to do something, like they just wanted to do something nice for the environment. Maybe they wanted to, they could plant trees, they could go and participate in a waste collection drive or anything. And when they would come to us, we would say, you can join us and let's do this. And we do their capacity building. We talk to them about electronic waste and how we are running this campaign. And then they would join us, and then we would have a lot of impact with that. That really worked for us in our community events. Another thing, and this is the last thing that I'll share, is that what we have is a solution to a problem that people may or may not know, right? Like someone has an e-waste and they don't know where to give it. They know that this is a problem, and then someone has an e-waste and they don't know that this e-waste needs to be recycled. So when we go and we present our solution to a problem that someone doesn't even know exists, it doesn't work. So you first tell that this problem exists and you are facing this problem, and then you give the solution, and then you make that solution tailored to their context. So a solution for a school is different than a solution for a bank, it's different than a solution for a university, it's different from a solution for a corporate office, and we just tailor to their needs, we tailor the solution, and it doesn't have to be hugely different for everyone. For us, we are doing collection, we are setting up collection infrastructure, but when you tailor it and you understand what someone needs and then give it to them, the engagement increases. Like they really like us more if we go and we present a tailored solution to a problem. And I think these three things I really wanted to mention here, and they really work for us. And I think they are really good community building tools if we are running a campaign where we are setting up collection infrastructure for any kind of waste, not just electronic waste.
Thanks again. Yeah, couldn't agree more with you, Liaquat. Dr. Ruby.
Yeah, so I was just about to say I couldn't agree more with Liaquat, and being belonging to the same field as him as a grassroots community, you can say a mobilizer. I think he's covered more or less everything, excepting that the solutions, as he rightly said, have to be tailored according to the need. You the same I would say prototype would not work for each and every stakeholder. So it has to be customized, it has to be tailored, and it has to be simple also, and there has to be an ecosystem to support that solution that has to be in place. When you approach the community only for awareness activity, just for awareness, it doesn't work. You have to there and then utilize that same connect to give them solution and end-to-end solution there. Along with that, there's a huge amount of trust which is involved, like your credibility. I just said it. Of course, there are newer organizations and they should be encouraged to become a part of the system as well. But collaborating with organizations which have a lot of credibility also adds a lot to your campaigns. Apart from this, when we talk about engagement and when we talk about awareness, awareness is a very, it's a fad term now. People talk about awareness. So the awareness activities or the community engagement activities should be focused on translating that awareness into real time practice. It should not be just focused on the problem. It should also be focused on how to put whatever model or whatever solution you are kind of presenting to them, how they can actually, you can make it easier for them to practice that. Of course, I am aware that electronic waste, or maybe let me give you an example of plastic waste. So we have a project called Veghal. So in this Veghal, this is focused on reducing the plastic bag usage. So when we go to the market, it's not that I'm very much fond of using plastic bag. It's just that I'm so very used to it. I forget carrying my bag, and I have hordes of bags at home. I don't want to buy a new one. And for the shopkeepers also, they have to give something, right? So people don't want to buy and hoard things, and neither should we encourage that. So we brought in a project whereby a consumer could borrow a bag for 20 rupees, and each bag carries a QR code, and we have about 100 outlets now from where he could borrow and at any point of time return the bag and take the 20 rupees back, and the QR code takes you to the list of all the stores. So this is an end-to-end solution whereby any kind of gaps is taken care of. An ecosystem is put in place to support that solution. A trust is already built in because it carries the partners which it has have a lot of credibility. Also, apart from that, if you're collecting electronic waste from somewhere, you have a responsibility also to assure them, or in some manner get back to them, telling them this, hey, this is where the waste you have given to us has gone. This is the last point of disposal, and this wouldn't have been possible without you. Otherwise, what were the other last points of disposal if it was not responsibly disposed of has to be told, and the impact also of the same. The impact study should not be limited only for documentation in the report. I feel that every stakeholder must know what is the impact of the action which I am today taking. So I alone also matter is the kind of feeling that you must pass on to your individual level stakeholders. I think that is would go a real long way, and I've had some real great experiences, especially with Karo Sambhav, when one odd certificate of recycle giri which I gave, which carried, hey, you gave us 2 kgs of waste, and this is the amount of CO2 which was prevented from being added, or these are the amount of trees which were prevented from felling. So these kind of impact studies going directly to individual contributors, individual stakeholders would really make a lot of difference. That's all.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you for bringing up the point of the simple analogies as well, where each one of us can understand how it has impacted. So thanks again for bringing that up. And Mr. Adrian, would love to hear, especially with Lions Club, I'm actually curious. You do come across multiple age groups of people when you reach out to families and the volunteer organizations and their families who are coming on board. So curious to know, how do you approach that with the same level of awareness? Yeah.
Absolutely. We started with an inaugural in one of the colleges, and the crowd was almost 250 to 300 for the inaugural, and that was just because of the leader over there. That's a Minister for Environment, where he's a very good orator and he speaks wonderful on environment. And he spoke so well about e-waste, and he told the importance and the future impact of e-waste. That's where the impact is created. It's not only one place. We went to places around, that is churches, temples. The church example, what I want to elaborate here, we started with one of the churches in Goa. That's the Asia's biggest church it is, which has almost around 10,000 parishioners, which is a huge one. And the father over there, he supported Lions Club at a very big thing from the first year till today. And that was the point wherein people came and gave their e-waste. As in, we say, what is for me, like how much I will get, was not being questioned over there. And people came voluntarily and gave their e-waste. It was from one and it was multiplied. Like people came, they saw the e-waste was collected at one point and it was taken away by Karo Sambhav. So that's where it's very important that people will not dump at their houses. They will give it at one collection center, and that day was given. So we have to continue this, because people just dump at the houses. Even the smallest to smallest cables to the biggest thing like washing machines, or might be a lot of e-waste is being there at our houses, which was created through these various platforms, right from the churches, temples, the panchayat. During a Gram Sabha, I am one of the VDC member, that's Village Development Committee member, the convener for one of the villages, and I created this awareness all around my village of Banauli. Banauli is a coastal belt wherein this toxic takes place, and we brought awareness to each and every people around. And it's very important that how the impact will take ahead. And we give an example of these organized sectors and the unorganized sectors, which makes a big difference, because giving it to the kabaddi walas, what they do and where they throw the remaining waste, we gave examples, and they really gave a thought, because that thought to the mind is very important. And Goa is quite learned people are there, and they supported us. Like they never said, what will I get? And it really helped out with each of our clubs around. And Karo Sambhav gave them that platform. They got something in return, and the same thing happened with the corporates. VM Salgaonkar, the Salgaonkar company, which is one of the biggest in Goa, had been a support to us this year. Once they started, the other corporates also have started now, where we are entering the industries and many places around. So each year we are reaching out. We are reaching to many people around. And Lions Club, having a name, being an international organization, makes a big impact. And again, the Minister of Environment, the Ministry, Government of Goa, and my district, it gave us that support. Because when you have a name of Minister for Environment, it makes a big impact for a program. And it creates more and more awareness. And now the Goa Pollution Board also has been a supporting role for us. So every year we have this partnership going on, building together. And let us reach out where I said, right from the smaller to smaller people around, right, left, neighbors, get in and get this e-waste collected at one place. And let more partners join us. The organized partners might be the JCs, Rotaries, there are many organizations. Let us all unite together for this e-waste program of us. Let us make this eco-revolution be more stronger and stronger day by day.
Yes, let's make it happen. Thank you so much. Thank you so much to all the panelists and to Ms. Shashi Choudhary as well. So, because of time constraints, we'll have to end this discussion, but this has been so interesting. I'm so glad. Thank you to all of you all for sharing such interesting points. So now we'll quickly move on to some Q&A questions. I think the first question that I see here, I think we can maybe Mr. Vivek, you can address this question. It says, what does blended finance mean? And could you elaborate from the context of social enterprises in India?
Lovely. Glad that this question is asked. In fact, you know, we keep talking about philanthropy and the role of catalytic philanthropic capital in driving impact. What we've seen increasingly is these days philanthropic organizations are moving away from a pure play grant based approach and trying to do a lot more and trying to make sure that there is more impact per rupee or per dollar that's being spent. And what they do is they try and offer some portion of the money, which is then blended with commercial capital to reduce the cost of interest for areas which are of environmental or social impact, right? So if I go to a bank and I say, I want to set up a circularity e-waste management enterprise, I will probably get a bank loan of 10 to 12%. But if I go to a development bank like a Citi, where the standard maybe 100 crores of 10 to 12% is blended with 10 crores of grants, which means eventually the cost of borrowing comes down because that 10 crores is offered through the philanthropic organizations, merged or blended with the commercial finance to really make sure that some of these things which are traditionally not viable can really get that offtake on ground. Sometimes it's not just about the rate of interest, but it's also about, okay, can a loan plus approach be applied? So I will give you the loan, but I will also build systems for you. I'll also build capabilities for you. I'll provide trainings. I'll provide whatever know-how you need and provide you the technology to do this. And that's another form of blended finance. But in its simplest form, it is commercial capital blended with impact money or philanthropic money that kind of has a very different risk return ratio, which is more biased towards environmental and social costs.
Thanks a lot. Very well explained. And I am having some follow-up questions, but I will keep it for later, considering that we are nearing the end of the session. I just wanted to check if any panelists have any questions for each other. Feel free to ask that.
First thing, I'm very much in support of Mr. Vivek's concept that small refurbishment should be allowed and should not break the guarantee period for electronic items and mobile phones and all. Before us, our generations were using this concept that minor changes they used to do themselves or with the help of nearby shops and refurbishment shops. But now this era has changed and use and throw kind of thing has come. And this concept is actually increasing the e-waste in many folds. So I'll take up this thing with the CPCB or my friends. How can we do something in this area? And with Dr. Ruby, as I'm dealing in plastic waste also, on Sundays, whenever I meet with people or do some this kind of talk, I request all the people who are listening to us, use your Sunday for putting all your bags. You whatever how many bags you are having in your home, put all those in your car or scooter dicky. बैग का घर में क्या काम है? बैग तो आपको कार में चाहिए. When you will go out, you will bring something, buy something, then you will require your bag with you. So your bag is not needed at home. Your bag is needed in your car or your scooter dicky. So use that Sunday for putting all the bags in your car or scooter dicky. Like your Wednesday, please use Sunday for putting this. This is my request to all. Wherever I go, I request them to use Sunday for putting your bags in your car. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, ma'am. I think you put it so very well.
I like to add here, ma'am, it's not just about the car. I always recommend to the ladies, put a bag in your ladies' purse as well. So one bag in the car and three in your boot space.
And I'll take one more minute. Last weekend, I was in a show with the textile industry, and the students from fashion industry was there. So I was requesting them to not introduce those kind of fashion which will die very soon and produce lots of textile waste in our wardrobes. We are full of our wardrobes, still we are finding no clothes to wear. So textile industry, electronic producers, all are having responsibility to think in these directions. And those big bags are should be brought into the fashion again so that we can carry things with us. Our water bottles, so that we don't buy water bottles. And those water bottles, the day before yesterday, there was one article in which it was reported that nanoplastic is found in packaged water bottles. So carry your big bags with you and use your steel bottles.
Absolutely. So much that we all can inculcate in our lifestyles, because somehow the market runs in a way where waste has become our lifestyle, and that's also become a style. So somewhere a lot of individual action, but also a lot of regulatory action, a lot of corporate action, actions from the brands that are needed, because we're talking about collaboration, right? So I think thanks to all of y'all, this session has been absolutely insightful, and I would just like to summarize the points. We covered so much upon sustaining campaigns for the long term. We covered how do we incorporate blended financing models which can support businesses and MSMEs. We also covered how we are. I liked how Liakatbir put it in. We are bringing in solutions where people may or may not know the problem exists. I mean, this has been happening to us through marketing quite a lot. कि हमें पता नहीं हमें ये product चाहिए कि नहीं चाहिए. But the same is happening in terms of even solving a lot of the problems. We spoke about how do we leverage trusted networks through our partners and go create that awareness and provide support mechanisms. Once an awareness is done, how do we give that support so that it sustains in the long term, and translating that awareness into real time practice, which Dr. Ruby put it very well, and also information transparency to all stakeholders. I think we have covered quite a lot, and a lot of food for thought has been given by each of our speakers here. Thank you once again. And before we conclude, I would also like to thank my colleague Amrita, who has been managing the end-to-end back-end technicals for running this show. And also, I would like to extend our gratitude to our principal sponsors, Apple, Dell Technologies, Canon, and HPE, for helping us carry out this session almost every month. So thank you. Thank you once again. And I hope you have a great day and a great weekend ahead. All right. See you. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you so much.